parts of the speaking test. So part 1, part 2, and part 3. And looking at some of the language and strategies you can use to plan for your part 2. Okay. So we're going to look at the part 1 first. Okay, very nice to see you, Arsha. So remember, before you start your speaking, there's a very short introduction where the examiner asks you your name, your ID, where you're from. This is not part of the test, so it should be quite quick. But then they will go on to ask you 3 sets of questions, 3 different topics about yourself. So all of the questions in the part 1 are personal questions, okay? And it goes for a minimum of 4 minutes and a maximum of 5 minutes, okay? So one of the topics that comes up a lot in the speaking part 1 and also the other parts is obviously talking about people and talking about relationships. So what we're going to do first is try and generate some of the kinds of questions you think the examiner will ask you. It's always good to try and, you know, have these questions, think about what you could be asked, okay? So if we're looking at the first one, what group of people are we looking at in the first picture? Okay, very good. So, you know, we've got a family photograph there. And so what kinds of questions, it's a selfie, that's right, Nana. What kinds of questions do you think the examiner might ask you about family in the part 1? Okay, yes, it is quite extended. Can you think of, can you describe the people in your family? Remember, it's always personal. Maybe do you live with your family? Yeah, what type of family do you have? Yeah, it's very common to say big family or small family. Yeah, something like what you do together, a lot of you are putting there. Yeah, that's right. Okay, yeah, where your family are. Do you live close to your family? That's quite an common question that they ask. Okay, yes, Edward, they talk about nuclear families, extended families. That's a good question, Anshuman. It's a bit more like a part 3 question. So remember, the part 1 questions are very focused just on you and your situation, okay? What about, very good, Ali. Oh, hi, Ali. So yes, do your grandparents live with you? That's a very common question. Yes, okay, so we're looking at friends here, close friends, maybe buddies. So what kind of questions do you think they might ask you if the topic was friends? Okay, yeah, how many friends do you have? Or do you have a lot of friends or a few friends? Okay, yeah, quality time. Yeah, how often is a very common question in the part 1. Do you like to gossip with friends? I like that one, yeah. Do you like making friends, Nina? Yeah, that's a very typical part 1 question, okay. And how you spend your time, what do you do with your friends? That's very good. The type of friends, yeah, what kind of people do you like to be friends with? That's very common as well, okay. What about the next picture? What are we looking at with the next picture? Okay, very good, Jamie, exactly. We're looking at colleagues. Yeah, so your workmates or your colleagues. Remember, we're talking about people here specifically, or your co-workers, Asha, that's another good word for it. So what kinds of questions? Yes, Ibrahim, definitely before social distancing, I think, all of these. So what kind of questions? Okay, very good, Mariam. Are you able to work in a group? Talk about your workplace. Okay, yes. What can you learn from your colleagues? Okay, yeah, good types of colleagues to work with, that kind of thing. Yes, okay. So yeah, again, very common question asking about, you know, your colleagues and the people that you work with. And what are we looking at in the last question? what type of family are we talking about here? Yeah, your neighbors, exactly. So again, another very common topic. One of the topics could be talking about your neighbors. So again, what kinds? Oh, yeah, very loud neighbors, possibly. So yes, Mobina, maybe they say, do you have noisy neighbors? What other kinds of questions? Very good, Mariam. Do you get along well with your neighbors? Do you like your neighbors? Yeah, maybe do you have any problems with your neighbors? That's right. How close are you to your neighbors? Okay. Yeah. You have the neighbors from hell. It's a good question. I don't think they'll put it like that, but yeah, remember they're always quite, how often do you meet? Yes. So remember, you know, very common questions, whatever the topic in part one is, how often questions, describing questions, and likes and dislikes questions. Okay, they are very common.